Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee. Come explore our world of coffee. Established in 2014, DeLuna Coffee is owned and operated by the Lemmix family. Ed, Courtney, and their son Brett. Ed graduated from FSU in 1979, Brett in 2009. Lifelong fans and Florida State boosters, the Lemmixes attend multiple football games every year where you can find them tailgating near the Unconquered statue. Pull up a chair and pour yourself a Palafox Place. Named after the main hub, Palafox Place in downtown Pensacola, DeLuna has combined a Brazilian, Colombian, and African bean to give it just the right flavor. This coffee can be enjoyed any time of the day. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.
From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up, wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? Welcome on into Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee. DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. The promo code's really good. Use it, everybody. Any Blue Angels talk? Let's go.
I got a tweet today saying it was somebody that had taken a picture. By the way, I'm in studio. I hope you can tell the difference. We're doing this for you guys.
First time in 497 days.
Almost 500 days. I'm seeing Aslan face to face and talking at him. Somebody tweeted a picture of me of the Blue Angels flying over the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh.
So they're like, they do travel. I'm like, that's crazy. Did they not come to Atlanta? Is it too close? Like they figure if you're in Atlanta and you want to see them, you just go to Pensacola? Now I feel like my dad let me down somehow. Like if they were in Atlanta, they should have been I should have seen them at some point.
Dutch Entertainment on YouTube says the Blue Angels also fly in Annapolis, which probably makes a little bit of sense
fair.
too, right?
That makes sense. That's where the Navy is.
Yeah. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Promo code is WARCHANT30. Use it for 30 free days of access to the website. Thumbs up if you're listening to us on YouTube. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. That would be equally as appreciated. This is our it's not our last show of the month. We still have a whole other week. What a long month this has been. Maybe it's because I've been moving, going back and forth, going back down. As you folks are listening to this, I'll probably be en route to Tampa, Florida. Hang out with Mike Norvell, do a little investigative journalism, maybe do a little bit of PR, maybe do a lot of PR, a little bit of investigative journalism. Another youth camp. The youth camps are back, Corey. They're back.
They're back, but also it's the little stopgap in between because June's going to kick off again. We got it's Wild West now and recruiting again starting June 1st. It's open visitation season. You can go see these people in person now. They can come see you. All those camps in Tallahassee. We'll get to see the Norvell experience when it comes to actual recruiting camps and not just coaching 10-year-olds. We're going to see how he coaches 16-year-olds and how he recruits and all that. That'll be really fun. So, yeah, we got to make do through May, man. It's make do May. That's what we're trying to get through May. We've done our best. You still got a golf team out there. The women's tennis team got knocked out yesterday by Texas in the Elite Eight.
Oh, they did?
So they're done. But we got soccer to the national championship game. Still got baseball. Still got men's golf. Track.
Softball.
Actually, I wrote. There's a column on warchant.com as you listen to this. I wrote about Lonnie talking about full capacity because they're allowing full capacity at softball. Yeah. It's the first FSU sport that's doing that, and I just kind of wrote a column about how cool that is. That to me, that signifies that we're close to normal now, right? There's 3,000 people there. They don't have to be in the garage instead of 120 people. And that means, all signs are Notre Dame's going to be full capacity. College football is going to be full capacity. And we've gotten through it. As sports fans, clearly there are people listening to this whose families have been affected in ways that I don't even want to think about. But we all know people that have been affected by COVID and were impacted by COVID. But the sports world, the column is strictly about the sports world and how now we're back to normal almost. You watch the
Lakers Warriors
game. There was a crowd. I mean, it wasn't full, but it was a real crowd experience. And I wrote in the column, like last year when the Braves would hit a walk-off home run, all you'd hear is like 4 yells from the dugout.
They did something funny. They would do something funny.
They would jump up and down around
social
them.
Distance.
Social distance around them. But then Acuna hits one last night in front of fans, and it takes him 4.5 minutes to round the bases. Like he literally just walks and stares at it, which was cool. I'm fine with that. But it was the real noise. That's what sports is about, man. And you don't realize how much you miss and need fans until you go 8 months without fans. So that's what the column is about. And that softball this weekend, if anybody's in town and wants to go, I'm sure you can try to get tickets. They might have sold out, but they're hosting a regional this weekend, trying to get to the super regional, and it's full capacity.
And they got Kennesaw State and then Auburn and UCF are your 2-3 seeds. So that doesn't sound very that sounds a little bit treacherous of a path, I feel like. Auburn's always got a good program.
Well, and she goes, anytime we host a regional, we know we're getting an SEC team. And we know we're getting a good team from Florida, usually UCF or somebody like that. And UCF's good. And all the SEC teams are pretty good. But that's how it works, man. Softball is much like baseball. They regionalize it. And softball, almost all the best teams are either right in the South or on the West Coast. And that's how it is in baseball too. And all the places in the middle don't do it real well, and so they don't want to fly teams across the country. So you get Auburn again.
So we're recording this on Thursday. Florida State actually plays a baseball game later tonight. They have a Thursday, Friday, Saturday set. I mean, everything matters, Corey. But does the series matter at all?
Oh yeah, I mean, heck, man, they're 48 in the RPI. Maybe if they lose a couple games, they'll go up. Maybe that's what Meade will try to do this week. But yeah, if they could win one or two of these games at NC State, who has I think their RPI is higher than Florida State's. Right, they're all right in the middle in that 44 to 55 area. They might be a little higher actually, but yeah, that would be good. Number one, it would wrap up number 2 in the Atlantic. They sew up the number 2 seed. If they just win one of the games, they sew up number 2 in the Atlantic. And other than that, yeah, man, you're just basically playing for seeding and trying, I guess, to be. I can't fathom a way if you're 48 in the RPI, you can be a 1 seed. But maybe being a 2. Although, what's the difference between a 2 and a 3?
I keep forgetting they still have the ACC tournament.
Yeah. Yep.
That I don't really care that much about. 29th right now, North Carolina State is.
Oh, there you go. That'd be a huge hit if you go up there and win a couple.
Yeah, Florida State 48th, behind such stalwarts as Air Force, Campbell, Northeastern, Indiana State.
Yeah, don't forget Fairfield.
Wright
Fairfield's
State.
Everybody's behind Fairfield.
Number 3, 34-1, man.
What happened on that one though? I'd like to go back and see how they lost that game.
And it was a MAC game, not MAC, but a MAC 2As. I don't know. They're Mid-Atlantic Athletic Conference, maybe.
And they're number 3 in the RPI? That makes sense.
I don't know. But anywho, hopefully Parker Messick is returning. I wonder if he's going to go Thursday night or if they're going to.
I wouldn't think because he pitched on Sunday. So I would think they'd save him till Friday or Saturday.
Well, let's not do too much conjecture over a game that's already done by every time everybody listens
to
this. So
right.
I apologize.
Just people know that if Parker Messick pitched on Thursday night, Corey Clark was surprised by that because he also pitched on Sunday.
Duly noted. From yesterday's show, Eskimo Randy, who asked you about comparing Trey Young of Atlanta Hawks fame to anybody in Florida State lore. Great Hawks answer here, Corey! ! I was thinking Greg Reed, but 1992 Charlie Ward is perfect.
Yeah, Greg Reed, I think, didn't make quite the impact that 92 Charlie Ward did. Trey Young's more impactful than Greg Reed was. But, man, Greg Reed, you talk about a guy that just gets lost to history, I think. Yes. I hope he doesn't, but he will. Yeah. He's going to be lost to history. He was a big-time player on a team that didn't have many when he got here in 2009. I think his first game, he had a pick against Miami and had a long punt return. He was just an exciting dude. He was an exciting dude.
Productive.
And he just, he got in a little trouble there at the end, then tore his knee up at Valdosta State, and never really got a chance in the NFL, which is too bad because he was an all-time great punt returner. All-time great punt returner.
Yeah, he's had a couple cups of coffee in the CFL, though, I think, right?
No, he was in the Arena League. He was like the player of the year. So he still plays, but, he never got a chance. He never got a real chance in the league.
Well, Kelvin's back. Greg, it's never too late. Run it back. Hopefully it works out. Also then.
Greg Reed's he's got to be 31 years old now. Think about that, how old we're all getting. Greg Reed, I still picture him as a freshman riding his bike. Like a bicycle, literally on a bicycle as the players are doing OTA stuff. Yeah. And he's on a bicycle. It might have been a camp, one of the Jimbo camps, and he's just riding around on a bicycle as this cocky freshman with good reason. Yeah. And that was 13 years ago.
I think when people are like, Kelvin Benjamin, has been out of the league for a year and a half, 2 years, but he's only 30 years old. I'm like, only? And I'm like, man,
he's 30.
Was he older than James Coley? Was he older than how many people on staff was he older than?
Well, yeah. I think Kelvin was the kid that couldn't play the last half of his senior year maybe because he passed the age limit. He had just turned 20, I think. I think that's what happened. They did recruit a kid during that time period that couldn't play the last half of his senior year because he was too old. It might have been Kelvin.
Okay. Also, football-related wise, personnel, Chaz Neal has entered the transfer portal. Played in 13 games, all 13 games back in 2019 on special teams, and 6 games last season. So, yeah, there we go.
Hey, good luck, Chaz.
Yeah,
good luck, buddy.
I'm not nothing. No opinion offered, no caption offered. Just simply relaying the news to you folks.
It was quite obvious he was not a part of their plans.
Yeah. But then again, it goes back to I feel like I want to ask him this on camera, but then maybe it's going to be too aggressive, and I don't want to be combative, especially in May. But I do want to ask Mike Norvell how many scholarships you have available. Yeah. Can you tell me? And if you can't, why not? I'm just flummoxed as to why there's no sort of firm answer on this. And then it's
fluid, man. It's fluid, apparently.
Well, what's the formula? Let me know the formula. I'll keep up with it. But I know some people are listening to this and they're like, oh, that's not a problem. He's gone. That opens up another scholarship. And it's like, man, it doesn't. Yes, but no. There's 85
there's supposed to be a
limit.
rule of how many new incoming players you can get, which is a dumb rule. The rule should be.
Apparently, they're going to change that
it's
too.
It's dumb. There should be no limit on the year, the number in a year. There should be a limit on the total roster.
Right.
So if you lose 39 guys one year, you should be able to bring in 39 guys. It shouldn't be you've lost 39, you can only bring in 25. Well, that doesn't fit. You're not going to lose 39 a year, but 85 is the number that should matter, not 25 for the year.
I don't know.
There
has to be some reason they're doing that, just because you can't have like this huge churn. But then also affects APR, I think, right? These kids leave early and they're not in good academic standing.
That shouldn't affect it either, in my opinion. It should be the people that matriculate through.
Yeah.
That affect it.
Man, you got that SEC genes in you, man. I like it, Corey.
Hey, man, can we play football? Can we play football and quit worrying about that stuff?
All right, let's get back to the questions on the Renegade Express. We're wrapping things up from our value subscribers on the warchant.com's Tribal Council. Let's begin here with Tennis Ump. Sorry, everybody. Tennis Ump. I'm curious to hear your reactions if you caught the interview on Packer and Durham the other morning with new ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips. Pleasantly pleased that he was careful to state that football needs to drive the conference, which is a needed breath of fresh air and common sense. Thanks for all you guys do.
Yeah, I saw it. But I tuned in a little early because I was trying to catch the field hockey interview. And it's like, oh, Jim Phillips is on talking about how important football is right before this field hockey interview. I did not catch it. I do not watch Packer and Durham, not because I don't like the guys. Maybe I don't necessarily like the setup of the show, but it's also early. What am I going to do? Why am I getting up at 8 in the morning?
Do you have ACC Network in Atlanta?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Look at you
it's
guys. Big city. Big city living, man.
Yeah. Did you see it?
Us commoners down here, we don't have it.
You don't see Packer and Durham, do you?
Yeah, I'm also sleeping too, man. I do not, but
you can listen on the podcast. I would be interested to know, to hear his what that conversation was like, though.
Well, I do wonder. It's a start, right? You have to, I guess, the first step of all this is admitting that you have a problem. Is admitting that, hey, this conference has been focusing on things that don't drive revenue, that don't drive, these programs and these institutions, these athletic departments. But you can say all that, but
he was on Thursday. Steps? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. He was on. I did actually. He was on Wednesday. He was the last guest they had.
Closing out, yeah, he's the big dog.
The first three guests were the Notre Dame softball coach, the Duke men's lacrosse coach, and the UNC women's lacrosse attacker.
They're spiting us now. I think they've doubled down.
Literally hit every UNC lacrosse player at the school. It's been on Packer and Durham.
So
Jim Phillips came on to talk about the importance of football and what it means to the conference after those first three guests that I just listed. But I do think it matters to him. He clearly knows it matters to him. He saw what happened in the Big Ten. By the way, did you see the numbers that they put out? I think Bruce Feldman retweeted it from like the last. I think it was 2 years ago. They did somebody got the finances of every conference and compared them, and it was like the Big Ten $768 million that year, the SEC was $730, and the ACC was $490.
Is it chasm? Chasm? It's a chasm.
Big chasm.
That's large. I'll try to look it up while you figure it
out. So the point being, look, man, they're not on equal fields right now. And what I would like to do is add all those numbers up because they compare the Power 5 conferences to each other. Right. It's Bruce Feldman. If you go to Bruce Feldman, he retweeted
Also, I did see yesterday that the SEC released some supplemental income because of COVID to their institutions.
Just gave them $23 million each.
Yeah,
just had it in the kitty and was like, you guys deserve this. So gave them all $23 million each. Yeah, so here it is. This was for the fiscal year 2020.
All right, my boy Steve Berkowitz.
Yeah, Big Ten made $768.9 million. The SEC made $728.9. So we'll round that up. Big Ten made $769. SEC made $729. Pac-12 made $534. The ACC made $497, and the Big 12 made $409.
This is what's going to happen, man. Oklahoma, Texas, bring Baylor, bring Texas Tech with you.
I just don't think Texas would leave because of the network, but maybe that could be umbrellaed into the ACC network. I'm sure Texas has a lot of lacrosse players that would like some coverage.
Absolutely.
I mean, they play lacrosse out there, don't they? Probably.
So.
They're
forward thinking.
The ACC is where you want to go.
Yeah, man.
It's lacrosse capital of the world. So, but my point would be, what if you added all 5 of those numbers up that I just gave you, which looks like it would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 billion, $2.8 billion, and just divided it by 5, and each conference got that payout. Think about what a better world it would be, Aslan, and how more fair it would be on a college football field if every conference was getting, whatever, $578 million.
Sounds like socialism to me, Corey Clark.
That's how college athletics works. That's how softball has a field. It's socialism. You're sharing the money. You're sharing the wealth anyway. But to make it, that's what the NFL is, right?
Yeah.
The NFL is socialist then. The NFL is all about socialism, as you guys can tell. But it's only getting wider. And, $300 million difference between the Big Ten and the ACC.
How many schools in this conference would go all in on football?
I do think most of them. I do think most of them. More than Vanderbilt and Kentucky, but even Kentucky's trying. They're trying to go all in. But yeah, is Northwestern all in? And Northwestern gets $25 or $28 million a year more than Florida State. Almost all of it football finances. No. And Northwestern hasn't won, I don't know, have they won anything in our lifetimes? I know they got to a Rose Bowl and lost to Keyshawn Johnson 27 years ago. That's the last thing I remember Northwestern football doing. So, that just doesn't seem – if you want a good product, if you want a product, and I'm thinking about 20 years from now, if you want a product where it doesn't just feel like there's 9 fan bases that care about your product, like truly care, then it's got to be more like the NFL. The NFL every year, not me this year with the Falcons, but every year most fan bases think we got a chance to make the playoffs this year.
Right.
It's because of the revenue sharing. They all are equal. They all have the same salary
payroll,
cap.
Yeah,
they all have the same they're all sharing the same money. They're all making gobs of money, the same amount of money. And Alabama's making $60-something million or $53 million, and Florida State's making $27. Well, that's not non-competitive. But I don't know what you do. I don't know. I'm not smart enough, I guess.
I just think, but they'll find ways to, because the Cowboys make more money than the Jags.
Sure, on licensing and stuff, right? Yeah, licensing,
stadium,
ticket sales, yeah.
So there's always going to be a little bit of a.
But the actual revenue, the TV revenue, to me, it just doesn't make sense that ESPN. They're broadcasting all the same conferences, except I guess what, the Pac-12. They don't broadcast that, or they do broadcast.
Pac-12 After Dark. Buddy.
Yeah, so they broadcast.
They get a little bit of everything. They get a little bit of everything. There's not a Power 5 conference.
They have a finger in all of it.
Yeah,
if ESPN's controlling it, like Fox and CBS control the NFL, then it would be like the AFC South making twice as much money than the NFC North. Right. What's going on right now in college football? And of course, then the Jaguars would be much better than whoever's in the Lions. Because they would have that unfair advantage. And so, you hope that maybe that can come to the powers that be, if there is one, and there really isn't one in college football, which is the issue, they'll figure out a way to make this an even landscape. Because right now, look at those numbers. The Big Ten makes $350 million a year more than the Big 12. $350 million. That's $32 or $33 million per school. That's nuts. Anyway, just try. I point out the problems of the world, people. I don't really know how to solve them.
But who's going to say yes? So the SEC and Big Ten aren't going to go along.
The ESPN can say this is the deal.
ESPN?
We're glomming you all into one huge. It's not a conference, one huge super conference, but it's 50 teams. Yeah. Because David Hale tweeted out a quote from an administrator that said, "People keep talking about the Power 5. That's nonsense. It's a Power 2. There's a Power 2, and the rest are playing a different sport." And when you look at these baseball facilities in the SEC, good grief, man. The only two, you could say that Clemson is the only one that's on par facilities-wise with any of the SEC schools. that's not in the SEC. In Texas, but they're their own entity. But I'm talking about in the South. It's Clemson. Like you guys have been to Hauser. Go to Arkansas's baseball stadium.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's like
it
is like a museum.
Mississippi State they've got lofts in left field. They have housing in their left field.
Florida's made theirs more palatable. And then there's so much money going to these schools. It's going to be really hard to compete, and you'd like there to be a little more even footing. But what are you going to do?
Well, you got to.
And why is the SEC so popular? Is it the chicken or the egg? Did ESPN build up SEC or the SEC build up ESPN? Because I think it's more of the former. No. I think the ESPN kept but there's there's certainly more fan interest in SEC.
Absolutely.
But they also built it up as if this is the only conference you should care about, and they did that for a decade. And it's like all the Tebow stuff. Now Tebow's back. People are talking about him again. Like all these media members would talk about, well, the reason we do all these programs on Tebow and write about Tebow and talk about him all the time is because that's all you guys eat it up. You care about. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, it's also all you give us. Like try a show without Tebow. Try to broadcast a Florida game without comparing him to Herschel Walker and Peyton Manning. Like, you know what I mean? Try to just talk about him as a normal person and see if the ratings go down. Like I think there's a lot of chicken or the egg there. I think obviously they were mutually beneficial for each other, but unless you want 5 SEC teams and maybe ESPN does, maybe they do, maybe they want 5 SEC teams in an 18 playoff because that would get the most ratings. But
people weren't clamoring to watch Mississippi State Arkansas football in 1997. But like when those two teams play each other now, they're going to sell it out. Yeah, and it's going to be the SEC Network game at like noon.
Well, and the college baseball too really baffles me when I watch these highlights of SEC baseball games, and they are jam-packed, and the fans are there. Yeah. And Ole Miss doesn't have any real baseball tradition. No. And that stadium is slammed, and people are throwing beer on each other in the outfield. It's
beer
nuts.
Showers, yeah.
And then you look at Hauser. I would not want to do that. You come in on a summer day, you got beer all over you. And then you look at Hauser, and it's
walk on, walk on.
That's all you hear. You don't see a ton of fans, certainly not like you do at Ole Miss, and the stadium isn't nearly as nice. And but I mean, Ole Miss should have a great baseball stadium. They make $33 million a year more than Florida State. Anyway, enough of that. Sorry.
HelloFresh.com is America's #1 meal kit. They offer over 25 recipes each and every single week. Vegetarian craft burgers, extra special gourmet options, which Corey attested to earlier in the week. Craft burgers. They have everything.
I had craft burgers. I had, there was stuff with something like bacon Gouda or something. They were awesome. Goodness. They were unbelievable.
My goodness. HelloFresh's fresh ingredients. They're sourced from growers, delivered from the farm to your front door in under a week. Use the promo code WakeUp12. Go to HelloFresh.com/WakeUp12 to get 12 free meals and free shipping. And you're like, well, everybody sends free shipping these days, Aslan. Just order it and see the way they ship it to you. And you're like, wow, they comp me on the shipping. It's crazy. They send you these 2 huge like ice blocks, and it's you open this and it's in this compartment, and that's in that compartment, and it's all organized, much like the Mike Norvell product launch of his Climb Vision to the masses. So go to the website, HelloFresh.com/WakeUp12.
It's worth it though, right? It is worth it.
It is.
It is worth it. And you're gonna get those 12, and you're gonna be like, I want to keep doing this. I got to keep doing this because it could be for most of you out there, it really could be a game changer.
They put the hook in. HelloFresh.com, America's #1 meal kit.
Just when you thought the chicken sandwich war was over, it's coming back in a big way with Zaxby's new signature sandwich. It's a double hand-breaded filet, split-top bun, 3 zesty pickles, and if that wasn't enough, it's smothered in Zax sauce or new spicy Zax sauce. That's right, it's such a big deal, we made a totally new sauce to give it the kick it deserves. The other guys won't know what hit them. The new Zaxby's signature sandwich. Have you tried it yet?
All right, moving along here. Let's go to Noel Fan 82. This is probably a nice little segue. With some new chatter about possible conference realignment coming down the line, let's take a journey into revisionist history. FSU decides to join the SEC back in 1991 and starts playing in that new conference of theirs the following year. Describe the FSU athletic landscape as of 2021. How many football national titles do we own? What does our basketball program look like? Olympic sports? Question marks.
I don't know that the basketball program would look any different. I think if you make the hire in 99 that you made with Leonard, you'd be about the same. Football, and it's hard to guess on championships, but it would look a lot different. I mean, it just would. You'd have a better baseball stadium right now, clearly. You wouldn't be on a network that just loves lacrosse. And I haven't talked about lacrosse enough. Maybe that's the next big boon in college sports, is that lacrosse bubble.
We have a lacrosse club team. Maybe to get them as a full-fledged athletic
Maybe that's
sport.
what the ACC's biding its time, like kind of waiting in the weeds for the lacrosse boom to really hit. Because isn't it like the fastest-growing sport in the country and has been for a while?
I thought pickleball was.
Yeah, maybe pickleball saved the ACC.
But that's the whole thing, though, right? Like football, moms and dads weren't going to let their kids play football.
Yeah.
Lacrosse is going to be the thing, so let's get in front of it. But I don't know. That sort of momentum seems
Don't know
to
if there's
die
a
little
lot
bit
of
off.
fan interest outside of lacrosse players and parents.
In the Northeast, especially.
Even still, it's hard to guess on. I think the dynasty still happens. I mean, just look at what Florida did in the 90s, and Florida State was routinely beating that Florida team. So I still foresee you still winning 3 national championships, probably, maybe 4, maybe 5. But I think the dynasty still happens because the SEC in the 90s was not good.
Correct.
Florida State finished more times in the top 5 in the 1990s than the entire SEC combined. Listen to that again. Florida State had more top 5 finishes in the 90s than the entirety of the SEC. So again, this SEC love and fandom and everything else is a relatively new phenomenon. So I still think the dynasty happens, but right now you would be on such more solid footing, clearly financially. With every Jimbo would probably still be here, I would imagine, right? He would have had no reason to leave. He might have found a reason to leave, but Jimbo would have been, you would think, theoretically much happier because he would have gotten everything he asked for.
Probably
They'd have a dome.
Probably have Bob Stoops as your head coach right now.
Yeah, I mean, genuinely, it's hard to know. But the money, it would be completely different if that had happened. Now, there's a lot of reasons why it didn't. We've talked about that ad nauseum. But yes, in hindsight, being 2020, that was Florida State would be in much better a financial situation if they were in the SEC. Clearly,
Would the Jumbotron at Hauser show replays?
yeah. Well, it'd still be called the Jimbotron because he'd still be here. And it would be
The one in Hauser I'm talking about.
well, they still call that the Jimbotron too.
Okay.
He built it all. Yeah.
Or would it just show still photos of the batter?
And not only that, and maybe it's because I've been to Braves games, but on the Braves games video board, and it's Clark season. I'm taking shots at everyone, baby. It's not just lacrosse. I love you, Hauser Stadium folks. But the video board, it'll show who's up to bat, like Cabell. Right. And it'll have a 35-foot picture of Cabell in this shadowy room, which is fine. But with no stats. Baseball's such a statistical game. Yeah. You never see the stats. Home runs, RBI. I go to a Braves game. It shows you launch angle, velocity coming off the bat, what the pitch was, not just the miles per hour, what the pitch was, in every single stat you could possibly imagine for that player because they have a lot of space for it. Right. Well, it just seems like maybe they're not utilizing that space that they could put. They have the batting averages going down the side, which I can't see because my eyesight's terrible. Yeah. But there's more to baseball than batting averages clearly in 2021. So I'd like to know what Elijah's OPSing these days without having to get on my phone. So that's another gripe. But and that's done. I'm not griping anymore. But wouldn't you say, Aslan, that the Florida State would be in a much different space if 30 years ago they had chosen? Oh, gosh. Well, it wasn't just their choice, but if they had made their way into the SEC.
This house that I'm in would be triple the size, right?
Yeah, I don't even know if you'd be here.
Wow.
Yeah, you might. It's a butterfly effect, man. You might not have even been able to get into school at Florida State if they had gone to the SEC. Maybe
at that point I've been all right.
Maybe you didn't want to go to school.
I might have been good enough to be.
You were an ACC elite student. You wanted to go to Duke or something. Who knows, man?
Gene would have tried to hire like people from ESPN to come work for Warchant.
Yeah,
guys
I'd be in Pat Forty's living room right now. Yeah, probably, buddy.
Oh man, I do wonder about 13. That team was phenomenal, but if they were, we would. In this exercise, we would be in the East, right? We'd be in the SEC East. Mm-hmm. We'll swap us out of Missouri. Let's say that Missouri, they never put Missouri and they put Florida State in. So 2013, we're having to play Georgia, Florida. I wonder who our rotational opponent would have been. I mean, let's say that we had one of those teams like Auburn or Alabama or LSU. Let's say like one of those three.
You probably don't go undefeated, right? Right. But I still think you make the championship game. You're going to lose once probably.
Yeah, that seems
Auburn lost. Well, they lost once and almost lost like 3 other times.
Yeah.
So I still think even if you lose a game, and also you don't have to go to that snake pit at Pitt. I mean, you weren't there.
You have to go to Alumni Stadium and Chestnut Hill.
You didn't have to do any of that, man. Yeah, you've never been to – have you been to Boston College?
Oh, yeah.
Snake Pit.
It is.
Snake Pit. That's not like – Athens didn't like that. I still think you get the same number of championships. But I think think about – I don't think the Bowden slide ever happens to the extent it happened. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. But maybe if they had I don't know what the difference in money was back when they were hiring Jeff Bowden between Florida State and
you
State,
said it, man.
Arkansas.
It's a relatively new phenomenon, man. It's from like 12 on, I think, almost. Like 2012.
Well, yeah, it got crazy.
Like when Alabama destroyed Notre Dame, that was like, hey, this is something else. What's going on down there now?
Yeah, when Georgia almost beat Alabama that in that SEC championship game, and the kid caught the pass and time ran out, and then you knew that if Georgia had won that game, they would have beaten Notre Dame. Alabama clearly beat the bejesus out of Notre Dame. I think, and then 2 years later, you have Mississippi State winning 3 games that people didn't expect and vaulting to number 1.
That's the answer of a trivia question. Like first ever college football playoff bowl, who's number 1?
But that's to me when it got over the top. Like this is crazy. This isn't reality. But you start telling everyone that the SEC is by far the best conference in the country, and it's not close. All the best teams and all the best players and all the best coaches are in one conference. Well, guess what? All these kids that are coming up and want to play college football, where they want to go. So there is a chicken or the egg element. Like, okay, yeah, I could go play at Florida State, but I want to be in the conference where it means more. Yeah, but you're going to be at Arkansas. I don't care. I want to be on the sideline across from Alabama. You're going to lose by 70 points. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I think there was something to that started where now they do have a lot of really good teams in that conference. It's still about 4 or 5 that win anything, and a lot of people riding coattails. But they make $35 million more than Florida State.
He does ask also, what does Olympic sports look like, which I think is a kind of good way to deconstruct what's going on now, because there's this theory, this belief that Florida State's not all in on football. They invest in softball, which, I mean, they gave them a grandstand, But yeah, if they were in the SEC, I still think we have a really good golf program. I still think we have a really good softball. There's no reason I guess maybe they're trying. Would we be even better? I don't know. I feel like those programs are really operating.
Yeah, you look at like Alabama, Georgia, golf. They're always really good. Georgia's always great at tennis. I think the SEC has some really good tennis teams. I don't. Softball, they're very good at softball.
Alabama
all of them. Yeah. They're all the SEC is the best softball conference. So
hey, Pac, buddy.
Yeah,
Pac.
Hey, that's true. I've been following the Pac-12 this year in softball, weirdly. But yeah. So I don't think it would matter. You have more money to pay these. Like Florida State pays very competitive salaries in these non-revenue sports. Yeah. Maybe too competitive in some instances. But I don't think that you would be losing it. I think the track team would be a little bit better even. You have more money, and the track program has a great facility. So I wouldn't foresee a big difference. Certainly not negatively if you're in the SEC, because there's more money to hand out.
Yeah. Well, no one's left yet. Like Krikorian's stuck around, Alameda's stuck around. Like
Seminoles been around for 20.
Yeah. If those they left, then
Jennifer Hyde with tennis has been around forever. Trey Jones with golf, they're not leaving. Bob Brayman, they're not leaving. So they're doing all right by their non-revenue sports. But I guess the counter is that are they spending too much money on those sports and not enough on football? I don't see that.
Yeah. I mean it's $200,000 here and there. What is that was your IMG trip, everybody, which was awesome.
I wonder who. So say Florida State was an SEC school in 17, and Jimbo, instead of leaving for another SEC school, left for the Jets or something. Who do you think they would have hired?
Right.
I still think they make a run at the person they went after, even as an SEC school.
Yeah, look, on the surface,
they would just be able to handle the buyout better.
Yeah, again, on the surface, it all made sense. You just hope there would have been people in that room interviewing that have been like, maybe let's pivot. But here we are. It's all good. We're climbing. Last one, Captain D_63. It's Daryl. It's Thomasville, North Carolina. Wake up, Aslan and Corey. Hope you two are having a great week.
I am, Daryl. Thank you for saying that. I hope you had a great week, buddy.
Yeah. Can't wait for next week and the Memorial Day. I'm going to make a run for home. Try to get away for maybe 3 days.
Okay. Hopefully then you get back to the grind because it's open season recruiting.
Yeah, June, man.
Dead period is over.
Can't wait. Corey, ever since you interviewed Matthew Nelson, his home runs
I know.
have come to a Corey Clark bad luck halt.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to apologize to him to lift that curse so he can start bombing home runs again, especially since we're getting to playoff time. Just kidding, my friend.
Should I interview him again and ask him why he's not hitting so many home runs? That could be something, right? Hey, John Pock survived it, man.
Yeah.
He shot an 8 under. He shot a 68, 70, 69 at the next tournament he played in after me. He also did go 0-3 at the Walker Cup, though, after I talked to him.
It's the Walker. That's international.
Yeah.
The curse.
Plus, I think he had a stomach bug, so I'm going to blame that more than me.
Okay. My question for the week is, our baseball team plays good at times, but can also lay an egg when it shouldn't. We're going to be playing on the road in the ACC, in the regionals, and so on. Is this team able to make a run to the College World Series based on what you have seen this season? Keep up the awesome spirit you all bring each and every show. Guys and gals, sign up for warchant.com, drink your DeLuna coffee or hot chocolate, hit the thumbs up button, and go Noles. God bless.
There you go.
Thank you,
Daryl.
Thank you.
Look, I've said it before. I would be very, very surprised if they made a College World Series run.
And the last time they went to the College World Series, you probably would have said the same thing.
Was a stunning run. Yeah. I think they were a 3 in that one. I know they were one of the last teams in that tournament. Yeah. And then they go to Georgia and just bludgeon a really good pitching staff, and then go to LSU and win 2 straight as well. And so I would have never foreseen it with that team. And this team is probably equal to that team, right? I mean, it doesn't have Mendoza, but it has Matt Nelson batting better. It has Matt Nelson, Robbie Martin, Cabell. I mean, Cabell was on that team, but he wasn't
So was Robbie
playing.
Martin, but he was younger.
Yeah, Robbie Martin was actually hitting a little better there as a freshman. But, yeah, I think it's a similar team with probably –
I like Messick a little bit better than Drew Parrish. I've almost feel that's sacrilegious.
Yeah, no,
Messick,
certainly that year, Messick was better than Parrish. Parrish had a really good year the year before, but actually struggled a little bit in 19. But C.J. Van Eyck was the Messick of that team. Yeah. I think the pitching overall is probably a little bit better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man, it's just hard. Again, you have Messick, if he's healthy. You have Messick, you have Hubbard, and you have Jack Anderson, and you have some really nice arms in that pen.
Connor Grady, too, is worth mentioning.
Yeah, Connor Grady, if you get to a third game. So you have a chance to you should have an advantage over most teams in a regional with pitching. Your offense is so hit and miss. So hit and miss. They can get 2 hits or 12 hits. They can hit 4 home runs or 0. They can strike out 17 times or 13 times. They're going to strike out a lot is the point there.
Yeah.
But they can score some runs, but they are also literally very swing and miss, hit and miss type of team. So it's hard to imagine them going on a run, like getting as hot as that team did in 19. You know, that team had Salvatore, it had J.C. Flowers, Albert.
J.C. Flowers really wasn't good at that. I mean,
no, he hit home runs, though. He hit like 12 or 13 home runs. And he was your closer, too. And you had a Reese Albert that was mostly healthy. Yeah. So probably a little bit better, more consistent lineup. But then that team definitely doesn't win in LSU. It might not even get to LSU if Tim Becker isn't doing what Tim Becker did, and that came out of nowhere. So maybe Nico Baldor is the Tim Becker of this year.
Simmons. I mean, they got some guys that have been.
So you got to have some guys come up and step up that haven't really done much this year. I would be very, very surprised if they made it to Omaha. But it's college baseball, man. Literally anything can happen.
Yeah. They've been playing well on the road, and I do think Meek's been pushing the right buttons, especially when they've been on the road. I mean, and they've played at some hostile environments, man. Like Virginia Tech, that was a tough series, and they took that on the road. They played good against Louisville on the road. They didn't win the series, but they played pretty well.
Yeah, they win 1 and 2, and the first game they would have taken the lead in extra innings if they hadn't called the kid Logan Lacey, I guess, for leaning out, which was a weird call.
Destroyed Miami on the road.
Yeah. Beat Georgia Tech 2 out of 3 on the road.
Yeah, so I'm not scared about going on the road. That might be what the
they've literally have played better. At least in ACC play, they've been better on the road than they have at home by a wide margin.
Yeah.
So that shouldn't be a big deal. I don't know why that is. There's really no rhyme or reason to that, but yeah, being on the road in baseball isn't that big a deal anyway. But certainly for this team, it doesn't appear to be.
Although, I mean, I think the NCAA also said that they're going to allow regional host sites to be, I mean, Florida State softball is actually going to be full capacity, but they're going to allow schools.
Is it 50% or the schools dictate it?
The schools dictate. So the NCAA is allowing the host schools to dictate what they're going to do for capacity limits. So I imagine if they get thrown like in the Gainesville regional.
Well, they're going to an SEC school. Almost certainly they're going somewhere.
And an SEC school is going to undoubtedly have 100% capacity.
Yeah, now that will be different because, again, maybe it's easy for this team to play on the road when there's 900 people in the stands. When you go to Ole Miss, and there's 11,000 in the stands, and they're throwing beer all over themselves and lathering themselves up in milk or butter or whatever they do out in the outfield in Oxford, that's going to be a different environment that not many of these players have seen. So
they'll rise up. I got a good feeling about it, Corey. I really do. Actually, they're a pretty experienced team in the line. I mean, in the field. I mean, Nander's coming on a little bit. I think Matt will find his stroke. I think Robbie's has to. Robbie Martin's not been playing well at all. He's due to snap out of whatever he's been in.
Yeah, what they've done.
Tyler's wired properly. Logan Lacey's been doing quite.
Yeah, they got some bad. They're starting to elongate that lineup, but it's like, and the best sign is they beat Clemson and they beat Notre Dame back-to-back series without Matt Nelson and Robbie Martin doing much of anything. Right. I didn't think that was possible. I thought the only way they could beat a good team in a series was for Matt Nelson to have a couple 3-run bombs, and he hasn't done really jack squat at the plate since that famed, notorious interview with Corey Clark a few weeks ago.
Maybe we should start doing the Warchant one-on-one with people from other schools.
That's not a bad idea.
Whoever
who's pitching for NC State tomorrow?
Yeah, you're like, hey, man.
Hey, man, you want to step on one? Hey, why have you been so good this year? Why do you strike everybody out and not give up home runs?
Oh, man. And also, tip of the cap to Brooks Koepka. As we sit here and record the program, he is atop the leaderboard, at least tied for the lead at Kiowa Island Course out in South Carolina.
In the PGA Championship.
Yeah.
Which he's aiming for would that be fifth major? I think he's got 4. I think he's got 2 U.S. Opens and 2 PGAs, right?
That sounds right, yeah.
So he'd have 5. Mickelson, he'd tie Mickelson for majors.
Well, because there was that zinger or whatever with was it Bryson DeChambeau tweeted at him about Brooks Koepka doesn't have a 6-pack. Like, I'm in better shape than Brooks Koepka or something, and Koepka's like, yeah, you're right. I only got 4. I'm working on my 5th, and he just took a photo of he's got to have a 4-pack. Major trophies. He's like, I'm working on.
That was the picture. That's funny.
He's like, I'm working on getting my 6-pack.
That's good. Hey, that's good. That's not like a little golf.
Yeah, Brooks is not your tip. Remember you joking with John Pock, you're like, yeah, you don't strike me like you're a golf nerd. He's like, actually, I'm not a golf nerd. Like, I don't think Brooks Koepka's a golf nerd either. He's just really
I think he's a sports fan, like a big sports fan. He's obviously very good at it and loved it enough to get great at it. But yeah, he seems like a guy that would have front row tickets to Heat games and stuff too.
How come you and John didn't make a bet on the Knicks Hawks series?
Well, by the time that was happening, it wasn't for sure that they were going to be 4 or 5. I did see him at the course, and he did remind me that I was like, I told you the Knicks were going to get the 4 seed.
How was the course, by the way? I've still never been there. A lot of people haven't been there.
The Seminole, yeah, man, it's really nice. And not just, the courses. I walked the last 4 holes, so I didn't see all of it. I saw 1 and then the last 4. But it's really nice, man. And it was a cool. There were more people out there than I would have thought there would have been. Now they all left when Florida State finished because there was not a lot of fan bases travel for college golf. I don't know if you knew that, Aslan, but yeah, man, I really liked it. It was a nice setup. I would never play it. It's way too nice for me. Even if Trey said, hey, yeah, you can get on there for free, I'd be like, I'll watch you guys play. But yeah, it's a really nice course, and if you get a chance and you have the means, you should go try to play it because it's pretty awesome.
Texas Athletics announces they return to 100% capacity at outdoor sporting events, beginning with Thursday night's baseball game versus West Virginia. Mm-hmm. Over-unders have been set for Tim Tebow 2021. Over-under 12.5 receiving yards. Over-under 1/2 receiving touchdown.
Over-under articles written about him. What would you put that at? What would you put that on? 50? 100?
Yeah, probably. All right, man, that's a wrap. We're done. We're done for the week. We'll be back. We'll do 3 shows probably next week for you folks because that's how we roll. But it's also Memorial Day, sort of leading up to Memorial Day week, so we'll go to 3 as we get set for all these camps coming up.
So when am I going to be back here? That's the real question.
I don't know. Hopefully when you are.
Maybe the Wednesday after Memorial Day or something?
Yeah, that wall will be down by that time behind you.
Okay.
Mr. Clark knocked down this wall. Knock down a wall. It's gonna be awesome. Just give me some time. My vision.
I like it, man. I like what you're doing here.
Yeah, it's gonna work out. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks so much for listening to Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee. Come explore our world of coffee. DeLuna Coffee features over 24 different blends. DeLuna's unique roasts can be delivered ground finely for drip coffee makers, coarse for the craft crowd, untouched as a whole bean, or even in convenient K-cups. Founded in 2014 by the Lemmix family, Ed and Brett are FSU alums and boosters who are extending a special offer to all listeners. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.